who would be the competitor to this model here? What other brands would be the competitor?
So you're looking at the S6 by Audi, and then by Mercedes, you're either looking at the AMG 43 or the AMG 63S.
Okay. Yeah.
AMG 63S more competes with the M5, but.
All right. Good deal. And so this is 0 to 60 in what?
3.9 rated from BMW. Dynos have tested them at 3.7, 3.6.
Okay. So that's already AMG level by far.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. And that was one of the things that we talked about when you sold me the X5, is that I was so dead set because of my history with AMG models and their speeds and their abilities, that I came in here thinking, well, if I'm now going to buy a BMW, it has to be an M version. And remember, I was pretty set on that, and I didn't even want you to show me
anything else.
Anything else. But you showed me, which one was it? It was the i75?
X550i.
50i.
With the M Sport package. And so it's the same engine that's actually in the X5M, but just detuned a little bit.
Detuned. And what was interesting about that is that you could actually go and get it tuned.
You can go and
if
get
you
it tuned
wanted
and
to.
make it in performance, yeah.
Right, but you save tens of thousands of dollars
by opting not to get the M version.
Yeah, and so that was very interesting to know that. And so from somebody who's owned 8 different Mercedes, 3 AMGs, that might be something that, from a sales perspective, you educate the AMG market of the fact that you can get that quality and that speed without having to pay that $30,000 plus.
And you can. Yeah. You just, sometimes people in particular want a full AMG, and they want to know that it came from the AMG division.
Sure.
And then you can get the AMG like 63, or you can get the AMG 43 now, and they have parts from AMG just like BMW. This is the M50i, so it has parts from the M division. It's just not the full-blown M, but if you want the M performance and save yourself a couple $1,000s, tens of thousands of dollars, you can do a little software tune, and voila.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay, and so Bridget, one of the things that is cool about these new cars, or the new BMWs, is this gesture control. So if you're Italian and like to talk with your hands, maybe not the best feature, but for somebody like me who doesn't, you'll watch that I can just simply do stuff like that, and it'll increase the volume. So I have my hands sort of in a good position where I can just get back on the wheel. So I thought that was an extremely technically advanced feature here. Look at how great that is.
Yeah,
Very
that's
nice
amazing.
feature. If someone's, if you have an immediate call coming in, you can swipe to the right of the screen to decline it, or you can point at the screen to accept the call.
Excellent. So what other gesture features are there?
So we also can change our radio station with our thumbs, back and forth.
Wow.
We can also just say the volume is already up. If you want to just quickly mute it, instead of turning it down, you can just point 2 fingers and it will kill the radio.
Outstanding. Love it.
And you don't have to keep all the gestures the same. You can, if you want to, change the settings. I was in an X7 the other day, and I was trying to show them that you could mute it, but that was actually changing the song. So within the actual infotainment screen itself, you can go and configure it to make each of the gestures do what you want.
Customize it the way you like.
So some people like to have the volume up like this, versus it change the station and volume down like that.
Versus doing the little circle gesture.
Doing the versus the loop.
Seems to have some pretty good fine tuning to it.
Yeah, so the 19s and 20s, they made the sensor substantially bigger. It focuses on a bigger range. On the 17s and 18s, you have to be within like a really small circle for it to actually read what you're doing.
Really good.
So, good thing that they've made the sensor a little bit bigger. What I really love about this car is you're getting an in-performance engine, but for, this is 100,000 versus the M5 that's 120,000.
Right.
You're getting the same performance that you can easily get yourself. You don't get the full opportunity to maybe open up a full M5 all the time. This is kind of the perfect daily driver. The M5 is even a little bit stiffer in its springs.
Right.
So you kind of get the comfort of a everyday drive, and then enough power to get you easily up and through traffic, or easily get up and around someone. I like the overall feeling of the car.
It's solid as a rock. The steering wheel is definitely nice.
Nice,
really
yeah.
Nice, yeah.
They make it a little bit thicker.
Yeah, it is. It is much thicker than a normal steering
and that's
wheel.
on from an ergonomic standpoint.
Yeah.
Helps your hands not cramping. On long drives when you're actually being aggressive, really helps you hold on to the steering wheel pretty firmly.
No, it actually is very sort of performance and Feels great. I can feel the flippers right beneath, and it's good.
Paddle shifters are nice.
Great sound.
Great sound. You don't really hear any road noise from the outside.
Yeah, it's incredible.
That's fantastic as well.
Feels great. Feels rock solid.
Just kind of overall how you sit. Driver position's fantastic. You feel like you can see everything. You don't have to move around too much. There's not a whole lot of blind spots. Mine. You also have wireless Apple CarPlay with your wireless charger.
Oh, nice.
This is both touchscreen and can be controlled with this dial.
Okay.
So if you wanted to use your...
Very nice.
Some people like me, I hate fingerprints, so I much prefer to use the dial, as anything that's touchscreen will show fingerprints.
Well, I found myself in my daughter's X3 and my wife's X5 driving like this, which is my hand sort of always rested here, and you can always keep your heads up and be looking straight ahead and just do your dials.
Yeah, I mean, once you get familiar with any car, I mean, the nice thing is, I mean, you don't really have to take your eyes off the road for very long.
No.
And you can change the radio station, you can get to your phone calls. Maybe you feel like, back right tire's running a little bit low, you're just feeling a little bob in the car. You can check your tire pressures to make sure that, hey, actually nothing's wrong, it's just in my head. Or
well, it seems like your entertainment system's a little bit higher than the Mercedes too.
Yeah, it sits a little bit higher.
That's important, because I do remember that as one of the things I didn't particularly care for with the GLE 350 we had and some other ones. It's slightly lower, and it didn't matter. It's just a few little differences there. Yeah. When I came into the dealership and I met you, I became your prospect, in the sense from a sales cycle of, okay, here's Sean, he just walked in, he's sort of wandering around the dealership like everybody else, and you approached me and I said, I'm just looking. I'm just looking today. I'm sure you've never heard that before.
The number one thing you hear from everyone, I'm just
right.
looking.
And it's so funny that everybody who's just looking ends up buying cars, right?
Yeah, everyone's just looking.
And you know that. But at that point,
it's not even something that someone says to be negative or trying to push you off. I mean, mostly they're just protecting themselves.
Sure.
A lot of people have this impression that if they come into a dealership, someone at the dealership's going to pressure them to buy in that day.
Right.
So most people say, I'm just looking.
Right.
Because as a buyer, you want to make the decision when you feel comfortable. And that's what we want as salespeople as well. But we also sometimes need to give you a little bit of push or a little bit of help to get you there.
Absolutely.
And as my job as a client advisor at BMW, I want to find you the right car that works for you, that's maybe solving problems that your old car didn't do for you, and find you the right car that we have at the BMW dealership.
Well, I love what you just said, because that's obviously the part of the sales cycle there is you need to get to know me, and you need to know what my needs are. You need to ask questions for that. You need to say, okay, well, does this guy like to go up into the mountains a lot and go skiing? So do I need to get the kind of car that's going to be able to handle that? Do they have a lot of children that they need to be able to cart around, and so they're going to need third row seating? Does the person is safety a major concern? So maybe they want an SUV or something that sits a little bit higher. So you obviously have those questions that you're trying to ask and get to know the people.
Exactly.
Now, do you take notes? Do you have a system or a process that you use that allows you to remember all this? Because obviously you're meeting multiple people a day.
Multiple people a day.
And so how do you remember all this?
And so usually is when I meet someone or I talk to someone, usually the process that we follow is, we'll go through a greeting, we'll get to know each other a little bit, we'll find out if they are in the market for a new car or if they're looking for a used car, kind of a needs assessment, what you would call it, and then we look at whether they're going to be trading in a vehicle or not trading in a vehicle. I think you gotta get over. And then from there we go usually on a test drive. And then and so after a test drive, I usually get back and I'll sit down with the client, and in our CDK or in our CRM that we use, it's UKD Global, which is a car CRM. I'm not sure who made it, but a lot of different car dealerships in the state of Utah, Colorado, Idaho, Montana, kind of the western half of the United States use this CRM. And I'll usually go into the notes section and I'll just write simple things down, like, are they looking for a car, like you said, that they're going up in the mountains, they're going skiing, do they have kids, what are they interested in, what have they had in the past, what do they like about their previous car, what are some things that they'd like to change about their previous car if they could, what would this new car do for them that maybe their old car couldn't do.
That's a lot of data to gather.
And I'm trying to gather all that data during the greeting, during the needs assessment, during the test drive, and then I'm trying to implement that into the CRM, because like most people,
you're going to forget tomorrow, right?
Yeah, I mean, and the amount of information that you're trying to remember, and the different people that come into the dealership,
right?
You're trying to remember a lot of different information. So just kind of key bullets in the CRM,
Mm-hmm.
and then from there, the CRM automatically, you know,
Yep. Drip campaigns.
yeah,
you have that? Okay.
tells you things to do. Auto, you know, email at this time, call at this time.
So you have standardized emails that you can send out a week later. Obviously, you texted me that night.
Yes.
Just to say nice to meet you,
Yep.
and please, you know, get with me if you have any questions or have any interest in test driving again. And that was nice because, again, just like everybody else, I forget things. So now that I've left your dealership, if I don't get a follow-up from you, I'm gonna maybe go to another dealership and be like, well, I'm gonna see how I'm gonna get treated over here. So
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's that initial touch. Do you classify me as a prospect, or I become a client, or how do you?
I mean, you're a prospect as soon as you buy a car, and then in a sense, you're still a prospect because there's the follow-up. And you and I talked. You know, you mentioned in our test drive that you were even interested in a car, and
Correct. Yes.
you know, I was new, and not that that's the best excuse, but I didn't do the best at following up.
Well, and you hit it on the head right there. So you've paid attention to important things that I said, and one of which was I might be in the market for a new car too, even though I was there buying a car for my wife. And you knew my history, that I was kind of an AMG snob, but I was also a Mercedes guy. I was sort of partial, and I think you've probably found that too, that people are partial to either Mercedes or Beamers or
Porsche, whatever it might be.
Porsche. They kind of
Teslas,
stick with that lane. So I'm curious how you pull somebody who was, again, we had 8 different Mercedes models over the years, and we're very partial to those. And here we are now, a family of 3 with 2 BMWs already, possibly a third on the way. So how that transition might happen, and as somebody who's selling cars, you're at the dealership, you're waiting for what we used to call our up. When I used to sell pianos, we'd call them the up. Somebody would come into the store, I would get up.
That's exactly what we
Everybody
call
calls
them.
them that, right?
Yep.
So I get up,
Universal
and
language.
you're now my person, and I'm here to serve you and to try and sell you a car. And I gather all that information because I want to know you better. I want to know what makes you tick and what your interests are. And are you, I guess I said, a speed guy? Are you a comfort guy? Are you a safety guy? What are you? Because I want to be able to better serve you. But then all that data, of course, goes into the CRM. In addition, though, I would say you were hopefully, probably, and I know you were because you commented on it, paying attention to all of my personal details that I just happened to let slip as we were having general, sort of basic conversations. Possibly a dog's name, my daughter's name, the fact that I already had an X3, and that's why I was in here now looking at an X5.
Because you're so impressed by your daughters.
Right,
Yeah,
where we
exactly.
live, the types of things that I liked in it, so that you could, as I come back in, and I'm showing differently, sort of hit those high points. So I would venture to say that as you enter that information into the CRM, of course you want to capture all the details of what they care about the product, but you also want to be able to capture all the things that are about that individual, because even though they might just buy one car from you, it's that relationship that gets built between you and the buyer that generates all those additional prospects, right? So
Yeah,
now
no, you're absolutely right.
Right. So that if I'm sitting in church and somebody's saying, yeah, I'm looking for a new car, and I can say, you go see Jimmy over at Pleasant Grove BMW. He really treated me right, and he's knowledgeable about the products, and he'll give you a good deal. All those things. Those are the things that when I was either selling houses or selling pianos or selling, $100,000 software systems, it was the clients that came from referrals where I made my most money, honestly. And that's from the cultivating relationships through the CRM. So making sure, even though I've now bought the car, I've driven off your lot, and you're like, yay, commission check, and Sean's now gone and out of my life. No, that's actually where the real relationship starts, because Sean can bring you, as every other client can, no less than probably 2, 3, 4, half a dozen people that are potential buyers. So you need to continue to cultivate that relationship, almost to the point where we become, pseudo friends.
Yeah.
The 8 Mercedes that I bought over the years, I bought 7 from one dealership alone and from one salesperson. And that's a lot of cars.
That's a lot of cars.
From one individual. And those were pretty decent cars in terms of prices and stuff. So I got a Christmas card every year, but the whole point is these personal touches, these touches that once I'm gone, I'm not forgotten. I'm gone, but I'm not forgotten.
And what'd you say was the best thing to do? Best personal touch someone can do?
I personally like a handwritten card. If somebody texts me, it doesn't take long to text, and we're a society now where it's fairly impersonal when you text somebody. And it obviously, because we all text, we know it doesn't take a lot of effort to do so. An emails get lost. There's, busy
or maybe
people.
Never read.
Right.
Yeah.
People who would buy a card like this, that's a 6-figure card, they're probably 200-300 emails a day. So, I mean, if you have established that relationship where you know that they know you and they're going to open your emails, then yeah, the emails would be good. But honestly, the best, I think, show of gratitude and respect for somebody that would endear me immediately to them is a handwritten note to say, I appreciate your business, and even go so far as to ask for referrals. If you know anybody who's in the market for a car, please have them contact me. Include your business card, of course. And good salespeople, what I would call luxury goods like this, they're going to want a personal relationship with their salesperson. Believe it or not, a lot of people wouldn't think that. You build those relationships with people who sell luxury goods like this beautiful car, and they'll take care of you, and you can take care of them because you have been taken care of. You've written the personal card to me, and so that's gonna give me that sense that, you know what, I'm gonna take care of Jimmy too. He cared. The relationship's not just about the transaction that was that one car. He appreciates it. He wrote me, this nice handwritten card. Maybe he sent me a Christmas card, or maybe on the 1-year anniversary. Here's where the CRM really becomes helpful. Right, those significant dates, and obviously the date that I bought it is significant just from the fact of the transaction. So maybe a year later, I hope you're enjoying your car. Maybe don't even wait that long. Maybe it's 6 months later, right? But I hope you're enjoying your car. Please, let me know if there's anything I can do for you. Those sorts of things matter because it shows that it wasn't just about the financial transaction.
Yep.
That it's about a relationship that's becoming built and growing from that.
I mean, because most client advisors are going to work really hard or professionally to sell the car because that's how we make a living.
Right.
But it's that follow-up that I think everybody lacks at and could definitely use some improvement. And it's probably the most important part.
Well, yeah, and exactly. One of the things I found, again, selling, whether it's houses that I've sold or pianos that I've sold, pianos and keyboards, I found that for the most part, as long as I could demonstrate the product, and most salespeople can, that was enough. What got them to buy from me was that I sold myself. And I needed them to like me, to trust me, to want to do business with me. And that's the differentiation there. That's, okay, well, how do I do that? Of course, I'm going to know about the product. And of course, I'm going to be able to answer all their questions. But what's the differentiation there? And it's getting to know that individual, I think, on a little bit more of a personal level. The other thing that I found interesting was you did note that I was in law enforcement. So from a CRM perspective and true cultivation of your network, one of the things that I would do if I were in your shoes is make the relationship more than just this car transaction. And one way you can do that is, okay, I know what makes Sean tick, and one of the things was that he was in law enforcement. So maybe on National Law Enforcement Recognition Day, annual holiday for law enforcement, you send me a nice little handwritten card saying, thinking of all the men and women in uniform that serve in law enforcement today. Imagine what that would do.
It would do wonders. Gives me goosebumps thinking about it. Yeah, no.
That's the true sort of power of the relationship, and what ZooWho does. That's the whole intent, is to get beyond this sort of sterile CRM where maybe we put some things in the notes, but it's these things that we want to pay close attention to and then tie or relate something to it and then be able to acknowledge somebody on some aspect of their life that is meaningful to them. Maybe I send something to you on, and I know there is this, National Twin Day, right?
There is a National Twin Day.
Of course there is.
Yeah.
So imagine if you got a handwritten card from me, or anything from me, or even a text, honestly, on that day. You'd be like, my goodness, this guy is still thinking about me, and he remembered that fact, and he's actually celebrating that fact with me on this day. Our relationship would just build that much stronger.
Just blossom, yeah.
Of course it would.